Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the thing show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One, and I'll be joined later by the Accomac, Miss Lisa Cypress. When we look at what's going on today, especially now, um, as many of you guys know, I go to these schools and I try to tutor the youth in these schools, and the school really isn't giving the youth nothing. Same thing when I was there. One of the things we have to pay attention to and always know that it's always more of you than you think it is. And we'll get into that a little later. The way we look at ourselves as a minority or what other people tell us we are is the way we'll go around carrying our lives, training our children, training our people. You come from a vast wealth of people. That's why it's important that you know nothing about it. You don't even think about it. Well, tonight we're going to talk about how we maintain that position ourselves by doing the things that we do. And these are examples that you see all around you. Joining me tonight and helping bring this reality to life is Miss Lisa Cypress of the Accomac Nation. How you doing, Lisa?
Kayuk, Kayuk, how are you doing?
Oh,
Nice. Thank you for having me back again. Feels like we just was talking not long ago, but I guess we were just talking not long ago. Um,
there's so much to share and to put out into the ethers because uh, going to these schools and seeing what's happening to these children in school is embarrassing. And the reason it goes on is because we allow it. We cool with it. Anything that's pushed off on us, we're willing to accept it. Well, tonight we want to give you another view of that. We want to give you the hierarchy of the African American oppression and to show how we make all things possible. Lisa, I'm gonna let you have it.
okay, well, basically, it's important to understand that we are for the most part kept blind and distracted to the hierarchy, to the hierarchy of oppression. That's why they are able to achieve the oppression. The oppression and control of the North American indigenous people is the most important thing that this planet can do, because the planet has hijacked our country. The planet is hijacking our energy. The planet is hijacking our just everything. They're hijacking our land, they're hijacking our resources, they're hijacking our intellect, our talent, everything this entire planet is utilizing for their growth, development. There's no sound. There's no sound.
Yes, their sound.
They just said there's no sound. I don't know that person, but
Hey, Zena, can you hear us?
yes, there's Zena. Zena, can you hear? Zena, give us a yes or no. You
I can see, but I can't hear.
you can
You
be heard. She hears you. Okay. Okay, cool. Anyway, so basically there is a hierarchy. Thank you. Thank you. There is a hierarchy. And that's how they're able to manipulate and control us. And we are on different tiers. And they have us so the different tiers are supposed to be intermixing. And they have us all divided up into different socio groups and this and that. And that's to keep us divided on our tiers. And then in addition to there are things, people that are not ever aware of each other. And that's to keep everybody unaware of the extreme oppression, because there's different levels, right? This is how you're able to maintain slavery forever, is that you keep a layer of people that are super free or seem to be super free, but they're not. They're not super. No one is free, right? Let's get this very, very clear. No one in this country is free. So they give the appearance of there being people who are super free. Can we see the piers, the pyramid thing that I did? So anyway, I tried to separate this into and to stratify it so you can kind of visualize it, because we're a visual people. So I try to put this together so you can see in pyramid form what this looks like. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So basically, at the top of the pyramid, we got evil globalists, a worldwide collective of criminal colonizers, thieves, murderers, and slavers. And they don't have a color. They're all colors. They're all nations. It's an international collective, worldwide. And they all are focused on America. Thank you. That looks good. On the second tier, you have the, first of all, you have the media. That's the most important thing. The media. It must be y'all. The media, social media, news, entertainers, comedians, music, movie, social media influencers. Those are the most powerful, really. Those are the biggest puppets, right? Those are the ones, the trigger points. Those are the big ammunition of the greedy globalists, right? Then on the second tier, along with them, but not as powerful, are the politicians, lawmakers, law enforcement, and government. They're actually secondary to the media. They're secondary, right? Yeah, they do some things. They make some laws. They do, the police officers are abusive. And really they use that in conjunction with the media to, get us to feel oppressed, to feel less than, to feel, fear, the fear factor, to feel that fear, right? And then you got elite, boule, the people that you're supposed to aspire to, moguls, executives, owners, CEOs, the few Negroes that are doing that. That's supposed to be like, oh, okay, yeah, man, it's out there, man. I could do that. They let most of those people are already predestined. They're already got the bloodline to be there. It's not like you can really climb up there if you don't have the right bloodline. Understand that, okay? So that's the second tier, right? But really, that's the first tier of the African Americans. You got your political people, you got your Stacey Abrams and your Herschel Walkers trying to make you, think they're gonna do something or not do something. And you got your Obamas trying to act like he was gonna come in here and, change things. He didn't change a damn thing except for the trisexuals and the weirdos. Can I say an amen? He only changed things for the trisexuals and the weirdos.
Y'all don't hear me this morning.
Hallelujah. That's all he changed things for. So we got these politicians and these people, these pretenders, and we understand that politics is it's just like the WWE. It's just a bunch of, drama for your mama. It's just entertainment purposes only, right? That's all that is. So basically, that's the first tier of the African Americans. Second tier is everybody that you actually think exists. Everybody from the upper middle class to the lower class, that's a horrible term, but I was, I just did this on the fly, so I'll use another term later, but you know what I mean? It's everybody from the middle class to the poor, but the poor that are comfortable. There's a poor that's like, wow, you really are jacked. And then there's a poor where you're like, I'm cool. I'm living my life, but I'm poor. You know what I mean? That's everybody. Because you have cousins that are living their life, but they're, not doing that, kind of poor. These people, we can all see each other. We're the visible African Americans, so-called, right? That's what that is. You could be a business owner. You could be a leader. You could be a professional. You could, like, that's anything from a doctor, teacher, dentist, preacher, right? Manager, skilled technician, laborers. Then it goes down to the temporary underemployed and the temporary unemployed. But see, even those people, they may be unemployed now, but they're going to get another job. They're going to be okay. They're in the balance. The people from the upper middle class are in the balance. They are thriving, so-called, right? Those are the people that the world is able to visibly see, right?
So and those are the common. So will we call them the common people?
The common people, exactly. Those are the folks that the world can visibly see, but they actually shine a light and popularize the first tier of the social media and the elite. But then the regular people, they fill in the blanks of the commoners, right? But the reality is the goal is to push the commoners down into the next tier. That's what everything's, or to totally eliminate your ass. That's the real goal. Either disobliviate you or they're going to push you down to the next tier. That's the goal. That's been the goal since the Civil War. Before the Civil War, since 1800, that's been the goal. Because before that, they was trying to be your buddy. Before that, in the Revolutionary War, they was trying to chum up with you, right? Because you was, you the indigenous people that got it going on, right? And this is your world. They was trying to be your buddy. But after the Civil War, when they freaking got all their buddies internationally to come against the so-called British, but really they came against your ass to take your daggone country. Yeah, that's when you became enemy, right? Frenemy. I say frenemies. That's the real friend. You the real frenemy, right? They're your real frenemies. Okay, so the next tier is underneath us, because we're kind of we're the good people, TikTok and talking, doing whatever, living our lives, whatever. There's a secret city of slaves, right? As seen on TV. Now these are the city slaves. These are the city slaves. See, these slaves are seen on TV. That means they allow you to know that these slaves exist. They're in movies, they're on the news, they're the project, track house people, the homeless, the sick, the poor, the addicted. They let you know about this, right? The criminals, prisoners, drug dependent, psych homeless, foster care. Now, see, what they don't really talk about a lot is the foster care system, probation system, children that are in orphanages, because they still exist. We don't talk about that, do we? Youth detention centers, we don't never talk about that. This all exists. This is the secret city of slaves. These are the slave system. They let you know about the trap house, let you know about the poor, the homeless, the sick, and addicted. They let you know about prison. They don't talk about the orphanages. They don't talk about youth detention centers. They don't talk about the whole system they got in the school where the police are in the schools now. Where you got that daggone speedway to damn prison from the schoolhouse. They don't talk about that. And they don't talk about the whole trafficking that goes on, the slave trafficking that goes on, slave trafficking that goes on this level. Slave trafficking goes on at this level, and we never fucking talk about it.
And many of us are complicit in it.
We need to see this. We need to understand this. We need to teach this. We need to feel this. Now, there's another level that nobody puts on the TV. It is not seen on TV. This part is not televised. This is the part that Stacey Abrams exposed.
Say that again, or we didn't hear you.
This is the part that Stacey Abrams exposed. Stacey Abrams crept down in the valley. She went into them little small towns in Georgia. And I know it because I happened to be traveling at that time by car, by truck. And I was like, why is this heifer on the radio everywhere? She was in every little small town, every little church, every little daggone community center, every little hovel, all over the place. She was getting with them little small town secret, deep South secret people. And they're not just in the South. They're in the West, they're in the North, they're in the West, Midwest. They're all over this country. These deep secret slaves. These little towns where these people are permanently underemployed. They don't got no hope that it's going to get better and they're going to get that mid-level job, maybe move into management. No, they'll never move into management because that's the level of racism in these little towns. They ain't going to get there. And if they do get there, it's going to be one or two rare. And when they die, that's the end of that. These small towns are all over this country, and that's where the numbers of Negroes that are not counted exist and live. They live in these towns, and they are severely oppressed. Like I said, they don't have temporary underemployment. Their underemployment is permanent. They don't have temporary unemployment. Their unemployment is permanent. They don't never want to get these niggas nothing. That's the way they're able to act towards these niggas. They call these niggas. Now, the first time I was exposed to this was some years ago when I had a young male white nurse. He was quite a nice little boy. He was a good kid, and he learned fast, and we liked him. And he got married, so he had a wedding in South Georgia. Not sure where it was, but he was getting married. We liked the kid. And so me and my best friend, we decided to go drive out there in the country and support him and go show up for his wedding. This wedding was where you drive so far, you see You see Harriet Tubman, Jane Pittman. You see, you see them all walking down the street. For real. You drive into the past. That's where his wedding was. Now, I drive a pickup truck now, but at that time I wasn't. But at that time, yeah, everybody at the wedding was in the middle of a field, and it was all pickup trucks, and it was like in some barn somewhere, and it was cold. But I kind of dressed for it because, I kind of think like that anyway. I'm kind of a bit of a redneck myself. So I was ready for that shit. So my friend, maybe not so much. But anyway, we went in there. It was cold. It was in a barn. There was a bunch of white folks, and there was one black couple, right? Me and my friend, and we were his coworkers, and then some other coworkers were there. They was dancing. They was getting down. Them white boys could dance. Like they was playing all the damn, of course, all the Negro music, and they was dancing like they knew freaking how to dance, actually. It's very interesting. They made their own strawberry wine, and I was thinking that this night was great. Like it was going off fine. We had little snacks, and I enjoyed the homemade wine that they made, and I won the bottle. And when at the close of the evening, I asked his father, I was like, that wine was amazing. How do, can we get a bottle of that wine? It's amazing. Oh, he had to show what the real was. He said, oh yeah, we make that bottle. We put it in a big old bottle of like water, empty water containers. We put a glove over it. So we know when it's, fermenting, we know when the glove gets all big, then it's ready to ferment. But that old boy, he was doing a yard. He said, "Old boy." I think he said, "Oh," did he say nigga? I think he's actually used the word nigga. He did something that was very inappropriate. Was the boy the word that I thought inappropriate, or was the nigga that he actually used the word nigga? He used something that triggered me. I know that for sure. And made me feel very differently about this boy's father. Because this boy's father is the same damn age as I am. He ain't no old man that I need to respect. We're peers and shit. We went to high school the same motherfucking time. So he was using terminology that I felt really offensive. Referring to some colored person who saw the glove blow up, and he thinks the damn Negro was so stupid, he thought it was a ghost. I was like, oh, back out here in the country, out here, they still in the olden days. They think niggas is dumb like back coon, these dumb coons and shit. Like they some Sambos and Uncle damn Remuses and shit in the country here. Time has stood still here. That's what I learned. That there are little areas in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Illinois, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Washington State, New Hampshire, where time has stood still. And they still call Negro men boys. And they call them niggas. And they think they are scared of ghosts. And they're stupid. I learned that many years ago when that happened. And I was like, oh, Georgia got some shit going on. Let's get the fuck out of here. So it was dark. Me and my friend trying to get out of there. At that time, it was so far in the boonies, GPS wasn't even working. I didn't get a good phone connection. So we actually got lost. And of course, being a small town, the cops was keeping an eye on us. So they ended up rolling up on us, and we had to ask them how we get the hell out of here. And they kindly told us which way to go. And we followed his directions and got the hell on. But what I learned from that is I know that there are lots of hidden areas throughout this country where there are lots of us that are hidden, who are living in a way that you would not ever find suitable. They're living in subhuman existence. They are living in areas where they aren't allowed to even move or go to certain parts of their own town. Not only their own town, but let's get it real, their own homeland that they own. People took their farmland, their homeland, and then forbade them from going near it. It's happening currently all over this land, all over this country, all over the world. But right now, let's deal with North America. It's happening all over North America, for a fact. What Stacey Abrams did with her trifling, she went to those little towns, got them beautiful people, come out of their little houses, come forth and go ahead and cast votes. See, we don't really know the number of Negroes that exist because we have all these tiers. We got the ghetto tier and the cities, and they don't go out and vote like that. And we got the hidden deep South, not deep South, they're not even deep South, they're deep all over the country. They're up the North, they're up in upstate New York, they're up in New England. They're deep secret slaves that exist. And they're barred from even existing on an equal basis with the people in the areas that they live. And we don't know this. And the main reason we don't know this is because we don't go home. We don't know where our home is, and we don't go there when we know it is. And that's why these people are like that. They left out there in a lurch, and we can't, they know we ain't gonna help them, so they got to keep doing what they doing to survive. And they have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And they all are succumbing to that same type of treatment. It's sick and it's sad. And the only reason we don't know about it is because we don't care to know about anything except, let me see, I got my lawn cut, I got my apartment rent paid, I got my mortgage paid, I got my car note done, I got my pass for the bus, I got my shit for that, I got my shit for this, I can afford to go to Six Flags for Halloween, I can go to Daggone Stone Mountain, I may be able to go to the park, maybe I could throw a party, get some, that's all we care about. We don't care about the children that are stuck in the system, orphanages, and youth detention, and probation, and adoption, and foster care. If it ain't hitting you, it don't hit you. We got this selfish mentality. If it ain't you, you don't care about that.
Lisa, can I ask you a question?
Selfish.
Can I ask you a question? Because what you just said just made a lot of sense. And I'm wondering, that selfishness that you speak about, as these people age, of a lot of our people who come from the places that you're talking about, but they left and built somebody else's empire, and they didn't stop and think and build one for themselves. Do you think what you just explained, how those people are paid back? Because I'm hearing in a lot of cities that a lot of these foreigners are moving into the nursing practice. And where once it was us that was nursing people to health, now it's other foreigners nursing those same people back to health. How do you think that plays into what's going on or what went on?
That's the saddest thing ever. You were talking about, you asked me something about the nurses shortage, and I was like, they created that because they wanted people to die. So that was made to happen. They pushed white nurses out of their jobs. When I saw them in 2000, what was it, 2017? 2017, when I saw them pushing white damn experienced fucking nurses out of their jobs at Emory, I was like, what the fuck's going on? These people are excellent. My coworkers were fan-friggin-tastic. Brilliant. Caring motherfuckers. They cared. To our core, we cared. And they kicked these women and men out of their jobs. White. It didn't fucking matter. The experienced had to go because they were preparing for the purge. These women are now home. They're tired. They don't even remember what to do at the bedside because that was 2017. These people got pushed out of their jobs. Pre-purge. They got novices and put them in their positions. Proudly. It wasn't a money thing. It helped the money. It helped the bottom line. But the reality was, it wasn't a money thing. It was a pre-purge thing. It was bigger than the pockets of the hospital because whole departments closed down. Because what happened was you had so many dummies in place, you couldn't do surgeries and shit. So it wasn't like getting rid of all the excellence helped them because they had a lot of cheap labor. You can't be cheap when people fucking die and you can't do surgeries because people don't know what they're doing. So you lose with that. But it was worth it because of the planned purge. The purge had been planned for 100 years. Right now, they have a lot of immigrants coming in as nurses, as to fill that need, and they're slaves. They're given a place to live in very highfalutin areas. There's kids that get to go to highfalutin schools because now they bring their whole family. Before it was just like you had to come by yourself. Now they import the family. And they put them all in nice areas with nice affluent schools. But they got to work where they say work, and they got to get paid what they say get paid for the given time that they say, and they can't work anywhere else. They control them. They're slaves.
And another thing I like to talk about too is check out the timeline. So check this out. Remember in the 80s when we were wiping each other out on that crack? Think about the kids that would have been here now if all those people weren't wiped out. And remember, we did it to ourselves.
No, we didn't do it to ourselves. We didn't do it to ourselves. We weren't the ones pushing the agenda of manufacturing these balls of crack.
Yeah, but we played into it. We delivered it.
Oh, of course we do. Because why? We want to be on that upper tier. We want to be on the upper of the upper middle.
Right.
Right?
But
we want to make it to the boule if possible.
Right. But didn't that happen a generation before? And that's what I'm saying. It's like
we always do that. Heroin put people on top.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
And decimated others. We fall prey to the hierarchy. They play us like violins. And we all fall in our positions like idiots. In addition, along the tier, like I said, we devise all these secret societies so that we are further divided all along the tier. I don't deal with you. You don't deal with me. I'm this, you're that. And all the while, all these little secret societies are keeping you from spending time with what? Your family, your tribe, your nation. Anybody in the chat? I don't know why the chat not moving. Is the chat not moving? Because I don't see nobody saying that. Y'all let me know you're there. Anyway.
We got a couple of comments on it. It's picking up. But
I see you, Mama Dread. I see you, Sylvia Jones. I see you, Curtis. I see you, Nura. I hope you back. I hope y'all came back, Nura and Victor. But anyway, this is a thing. We have to understand how this happened. Let's talk about the how we got lost. Because we were talking about that earlier today. How about them babies? Them babies that are them angry babies.
What's the where's my milk or the other one?
Where's my milk?
Okay.
The big letters.
Okay.
See, I was talking about the baby boomers, which we are TLN baby boomers, myself and the indigenous one. And tail end is a little different because we're kind of like our own little shit. But the baby boomers, they were that generation that was like, understand if we was winning, y'all. The reality is that, the Civil War was about the first hit at taking us down. It wasn't no reconstruction after that. We were demolished by the Civil War, and they kept striking us down continuously since then. Slavery was not our problem. It was never our problem. It was the white people's problem. We were wealthy, winners, all the way until the 1900s when they really started to check us down. By the 1940s and 50s, they had us. And they took away the breast milk and had Borden's milk. They had carnation milk. They said they used to mix it with Karo syrup, condensed milk combination with water. They used to give baby milk, water, bread soaked in carnation or bread soaked in water. This is a thing that called nigger milk. The picture's actually called nigger milk, and this baby is sucking milk, sucking the ink from the ink thing. This racist piece. But the babies that were born in the late 40s and 50s, they got bottled milk because it was told that was what was cool. That the doctors, they took our mothers, our healers away, and these so-called scientists told us what formula we need to be giving babies instead of the breast milk that nursed a whole entire planet. This thing of being detached from the mama and drinking out of a bottle, the generation that got that hard was in the 1940s, late 40s to the 1960s. The thing that happened with that, I think it was detrimental. I think the people that did not get the titty milk are mad. They're not just mad, they big mad, as they say. They mad. And they were spoiled. I can tell you from my brother's story. My brother was born in 1948 in Eastville, Virginia. My brother was born to a 16-year-old mother and a 21-year-old father. He had a married couple. And they were moved to New York. They left him with Big Mama for about a year or so. He grew up in Virginia. And of course, Big Mama wasn't breastfeeding. So he did drink probably carnation and Carol syrup and those kind of things. He was given when my mom got him back and they were living in New York because of the World War II veterans, and they treated them so freaking bad, and they were so threatened by their intelligence and their certifications and their intelligence and their confidence. They heaped all kinds of terrorism on them young men and women. And so they had to, through exodus, go to New York and New Jersey and Philadelphia and wherever you were in the country. You might have ended up in Detroit or Chicago. These people that moved on, they, like my mother, after leaving her baby for a while with her mom, probably felt some kind of guilt. My brother was spoiled. I mean, I rode on the red truck. That he had a metal red truck that, you know, you could had pedals on it. You could ride around on it. He had a couple of metal red things. I rode on that, and there's a what kind of, there's like a 12-year difference between me and him, or is it 16-year difference between me and my brother. I rode around on that shit when I was a kid. That's how highfalutin that daggone toy was. That when 16 years later, that was my toy all the way through my daggone childhood. Me and my sisters, who is 4 years younger than me. He was spoiled. He got good stuff. The best clothes. My mother spoiled him. Good clothes, man. The best toys. Railroad trains and all kinds of, you know, good comics and all that good stuff that city life could afford. Good food. He was spoiled. This generation became spoiled and selfish, self-centered. Yeah, he went to Vietnam. But according to him, he was drinking and stuff before Vietnam. He was like 12 and 13 years old, sneaking drinks. My parents were not drinking people. Like, they would carry drinkers in the house because they had drinking friends and relatives. But they were not real like drinkers at all. But he was sneaking drinks, he told me. His addiction started as a young kid. Spoiled.
I have a question. So when we're trying to find our families, when we're looking up our families and we're trying to connect and we're doing genealogy, how important is it to look out for those things that you said that just happened? Like from your mother, your mother come from another generation, and how them being in a different city, a different way of living, different from what they were raised up in, how did that affect the children? Should, you know, when we're doing genealogy, should we factor that in also?
Well, I think as you try to weave these stories together, you should try to keep some of these things in mind. That it did change the way we do things. That it changed the way we saw things and the way we lived. You know, that's something that we should also always, you know, as we kind of weave the stories together. And also the whole thing of a lot of people, they fall into the whole misnomer of, oh, they seek better opportunity. Girl. Son, most of these people that went and left their homeland, it wasn't because they were just like, let me get a good job. These places were banging and thriving by us, for us. That's why the daggone immigrants were so mad. We was winning. They were mad. That is why a lot of this exodus occurred. We talk about the what is it called? The Tulsa thing, like that's something. Boo. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not even the tip of the iceberg. It happened everywhere. Everywhere you saw your people move away from home, I guarantee it was not because they were just seeking a better job. It was because home was inhospitable. Mississippi, goddamn. That's what Nina Simone said. Mississippi, goddamn. It was bad. The people didn't leave just for fun, just an option. They left because it was inhospitable. It was an exodus. It was terroristic. And I didn't even fully understand it. Didn't quite understand it. And then this week, I got this. Gallows on the Marsh at a little bookstore in the county where my people are from. By Brooks Miles Barnes. Now, you see the marsh? I don't know if you can see the marsh. I don't think you can actually. Yeah, you can kind of see the marsh, little vegetation down there next to his name. Now, I have a picture with Carrie, my daughter, and other people that are on the marsh, right? And they look beautiful. They look like they're in heaven. They're looking up towards the beautiful sunshine, sky. Rebel's in that picture too. And the marshes are beautiful, man. And I thought that. They're beautiful. But I couldn't understand why my cousins and kin and Accomack people didn't want to come out and play in the marsh and go to the park and go to Chickateague or go to the to the waterfront. I didn't understand until I saw this book. And I saw that they built a gallows on the marsh. That's just one story. That's just one that got published, right? So I was like, who wrote this book, Gallows on the Marsh? Y'all, the pictures in this book, I'm not going to get into it. At a later time, maybe on my channel, I don't know. I don't really like making people sad. But the pictures in this book, this man's twisted, man. The man that wrote this book. As a Caucasian person, to write this book meant that you wanted to kind of re-inflict harm, in my opinion. That you feel glory in this, in a way. You're proud of it in some sick way. Because this is horrific, man. The pictures in this book are horrific. And then I saw an article. I wanted to see who he was. So I looked for an article about him, and I found an article about him on the internet. It's about Governor Northam, really, and the fact that he had that Ku Klux Klan costume on, blackface costume on in 1984 at college. He grew up in the same town as this whole Gallows on the Marsh when it occurred in the early 1900s. This happened in 1907 or so. Now, the article talks about how the town was full of freed African Americans. Now, you understand that this is such a lie only because Accomack and Northampton County had free blacks in the 1700s, like thousands, tens of thousands in each county. The most freed blacks ever recorded, probably in the country. because we had the records. That's probably why they're so recorded. But there's a lot of them, tens of thousands of free people of color that were Indians, so-called blacks. Let's be clear. So they also mentioned the wealth of the town, how much money it had, how many businesses it had, how many merchants it had, and that it was involved with commerce that went all the way to Havana, commerce that went to South America. And hey, I was like, wait a minute, who would be doing, who on the Eastern Shore would be doing commerce of agriculture to Havana? Who would be doing that? Then later in the article, he mentions that there were hundreds of these, I guess, white people who began burning and terrorizing the Negroes based upon some kind of deal or misunderstanding or something. Basically, they were sick of these, if you read between the lines, the niggas were rich. They were more than nigger rich. They were just rich. And the poor whites were sick of it, just like Tulsa, but before Tulsa. And they decided that they had had enough of these uppity-ass niggas. And so they revolted. It was a white slave uprising, post-slavery, you could say. That's what I would call it. They described the hundreds of people, and they only admitted in the article to 3 people having been damaged. 3 Negroes. Yeah, right. They said the people were made into aliens in their own homeland. That was true. They always tell many lies and a couple of truths. Then they also mentioned the fact that they called the governor for support in their fight against the Negroes. Why? Because the time for the Black Agricultural Fair was approaching. So they asked for ammunition, guns, and they got 50 soldiers sent to them. So this was a Tulsa. They got the military to come and they're going to reap havoc against the rich farmers. They were so rich, they had a Black Agricultural Fair that evidently was a threat. We were balling, man. We were balling. Everything from the Civil War down was to take stuff away. Actually, from the War of 1812 down was about taking everything we had away. We were kings, queens, winners, moguls, rich. Understand that. Yeah. When your memory, and it's a story that they keep pushing. And see, the reason why he wrote this story was the same reason they did this hanging on the marsh, was to make the people have an inerasable image, memory, connection to their beautiful marshes, to this lynching, to this hanging on the gallows. He wrote this book, and they keep talking about it to daggone revive the terrorism. They want you to continuously be afraid. They want you to continuously believe that you are less than. They want you to continuously feel afraid and threatened. That's why people like him write these things. It's done to keep us in our hierarchy. So now what do? We were talking earlier about the baby boomers. And the reason why I talk about them being affected and being spoiled is because the fact that they're spoiled, and they were spoiled, and they became these kind of selfish folks, not all of them, but a lot of them, has changed the way we act in our culture towards each other. Because, like I was telling my daughter earlier today, I mean, my mother and father were beautiful, wonderful people, but they weren't always wonderful to me, in my opinion. Not that did never change my admiration and my respect for my parents. Because honor your father and mother is that biblical thing that I definitely know is important at the core of our culture. I honor my mom and my dad, and I would do anything for them, anytime, no matter what. When Daddy said, we're going to the family reunion, I showed up. If it was all possible. It wasn't like giving birth or whatever. When Mom said, da da da, I was there. If it was at all possible. Oh, I don't hate the Bible. I don't hate anything, really. So, no, I don't hate the Bible. I don't hate anything.
Let me get in right here. Please stop saying you thought, because you don't think. You just whatever. That's how you roll. Nobody hates nothing. I just ask that you read it. And then when we ask you to explain what you believe, you can't. That doesn't mean we hate the Bible. I don't care about it. But if you say you witness something and you believe in all this stuff, explain what you believe. Explain how a person stay in a whale's mouth for 3 days. Explain how a man makes his wife drive a donkey 90 miles to have a baby 3 days before the baby's born. You ought to be able to give some concrete evidence of this happening. You can't. So it's not that that's the Bible we hate. Is that I hate that people believe that stupid shit. And then when you're asked to explain why you believe it, you can't. And what it does, it just sets us back and keeps us confused. That's what I hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody hates the Bible. Nobody hates nobody. Nobody hates. Dang, just look at it.
That's not even part of it.
Right.
Yeah. We have to understand, people take things literally that they shouldn't. People don't apply things that they should. People do apply things that they shouldn't. That's the problem. The problem ain't the book. The problem is the people. Okay.
Check.
People and how they're looking at things. And that's what we're talking about. How are you looking at things? So when we talk about our baby boomer people, in which I am included in that, and so is the indigenous one. When we talk about that, we have to understand that we have to, we got to do something about it. Because this is the thing. I can tell you this. Let me go to this. I got baby boomers in my family on both sides. And from one person in my family, one person produced 12 people, whether it's kids, grandkids. I have a cousin that produced one child, and from that one child, 12 individuals have sprung. Okay? That's a lot, right? From somebody born in the 1950s or whatever. Right. So this thing, so if you think about it, a lot of that one person had one child 12 people came from that one child and that one person, right? So a lot of you got baby boomers that got 50, 75 people out of that one person, right? Anywhere from 30, anywhere from 12, 10 to 50 or more people out of that one baby boomer, right? That's the thing. And so, but my thing is, the thing that I have realized about this, when I look around in my family and I look at all our baby boomers, who can bring their 20, their 10, their 50 people anywhere? Because I know, like I said, my daddy talked, we were going. My mom said something, we were going. Big mama said something, we was going to come. But all of us, but now, current day, big mama, big daddy don't exist. These grandmas, these G-mas, these like G-Lees or whoever, people are, they're not able to bring the crowd. They're not able, nobody's listening. Nobody respects. They don't garner the respect that my mother, my father, my grandparents did. So they're not able. So it's funny because I'll have people that are academics, they're in their 70s and 60s who come to the summit or who contact me, but they're not able to corral their children or grandchildren. And to me, that is sad, because that's what we had. We had respect for our elders, and the elders had the ability to move a crowd. They were the MCs. They're not the MCs anymore. The elders are no longer the MCs. Everybody chooses to believe or listen to whoever they want to today. And that's a problem, y'all. And then in addition to that, the fact that we don't have the ability to get our tribe, our team together. We got all these other, everybody's interested in all these other entities, all these social groups, all these people that aren't our blood are actually more important than our blood kin to us. That's a problem, y'all. This next generation don't have that admiration for you that you have for yours. That's a problem, y'all. A lot of folks will say, I took care of my father, I took care of my dad, I took care of my mom, I took care of my auntie. Who's going to take care of you? Are they going to be the same? I'm afraid not. I'm afraid. So, with that being the case, now we got people forming these fake societies with strangers. You go to a funeral, and instead of all the cousins showing up, you got the frat brothers, sisters, the sorority sisters showing up. That's not, the sorority sisters are not your sisters. They're never going to be blood. So when that kind of thing happens, what happens to the bloodline? What happens to the connectivity? You see, this is my thinking. I know that there are people that don't like their sisters and brothers. I know that there are folks that don't like their cousins and aunties. That's okay. That happens. But the magical thing about being an indigenous person and being who you are is you just don't have to deal with your sisters and brothers or your first cousins. So this is what I want to tell you. As your granddad from your mom, you got him. You got a grandmom from your mom, you got her. You got a grandpop from your dad, you got it, you got him. You got a grandmom from your dad, you got her. You got your mom's dad's people. Those are a whole bunch of people. You got your mom's people. Those are a whole bunch of people. You got your dad's people. That's a whole lot of people.
Whole lot.
And then you got your dad's mom's people. You got 4 different surnames just with your 4 grandparents. That's it. Don't gotta go no further. You got 4 surnames. Those 4 surnames are a tremendous number of people that are like you because you come from those people. Y'all got the same blood. So amongst those people, you're going to find like-minded kinfolk. People in your tree that's your kin, your people. And they're going to vibe just like you. You're going to find that. Not going to find it if you don't look. But if you look, you're going to find it. And these people, unlike making up frat groups or sorority groups or, nursing groups or, I'm a, tech group or engineering groups or, church groups. Unlike those groups that are artificially made and not of your blood, these people are your people. And like I said, the similarities you have are going to be striking, even though they're not your first cousins or maybe not second cousins even. And by doing that, you form a network that becomes the basis of your nation. So that's why I say to you, start this year different. And this year, I mean right now. Instead of going to Disney World, going to Miami, going to the islands, the Caribbean, going to wherever else that you want to go where other people live and you think it's a beautiful place, Mexico or whatever, or Las Vegas or wherever you go to, that you think that's a vacation. Go home. You got 4 different surnames, maybe 4 different locations, depending on your life, maybe more than that. And go and find and connect with these people via Facebook, via social media. These people, that's your mom's dad's people. That's your mom's people. That's your dad's people. Your dad's mom's people. These people got surnames, and a lot of these people, I venture to say at least 1 or 2 or even 4 of them have family reunions each year that you don't know about. It ain't your first cousin's family reunion, but it's other people, them other Joneses. They have reunions. Them other Braxtons, them other people, them other Butchers, them other Robinsons. They have a family reunion. Not your first cousins, the other Robinsons that you don't know. Make your vacation an effort to plan to go to these other family reunions. Make your world and your nation bigger. Reach out, but also build within. by making an effort to build your tree, with real people, with real stories, with real homeland, with your real homeland. Because if we don't have Big Mama and Big Daddy, and you're not the Big Mama and Big Daddy that can get everybody to come together, then go where they can get it together. And then start building from there. Once you start going out, maybe to these other family reunions, maybe you can start getting these people to understand that we got more at stake than just bloodline. We got land in common. We got rights in common. We can do more as a united people than as a scattered family. We can do more as an organized indigenous people than a scattered African American people. Does that make sense?
Makes all the sense in the world. Makes all the sense in the world. And then when she's talking about the families, you never know. You may be the missing piece for what they're trying to do. And when they say, remember, when you're talking about your mom's moms, your dad's mom, and all those people, remember, those were people who were having 10 and up children. They were having a lot of babies back then, and they were having the babies because the babies, they realized that they needed people in the family to help build some of these towns that were destroyed. They had a lot of babies to have the hands to run some of these business that was doing business with Cuba and down in South America and the Caribbean. These are the people that you are related to. And so, like she was saying earlier, we opt to get into these social groups, these foreign social groups that tears us away from all that was built. That's on us. We got to stop pretending like we don't know what happened. Nobody told me. This stuff is right in your face, y'all. You seeing immigrants coming over here, making their money off you, shit what they make off of you back home to build up their towns. How come we not doing that? Huh? How come we not sending funds back to build up Mississippi, Clarksdale, Mississippi, Jackson? How come we're not doing that? We got all this education. We got the Lord. What's happening? And that's what I mean. We look stupid when we talk because we do all this yapping. And in the meantime, what's happening? People are suffering, just dying out. That's on us. Because we got to be more tighter upstairs than we've been. We got to think. We can't fault. What you say? You see everything going on just like we do. But you believe something else. Okay, I get it. And like she's saying, all these people, your mother's mother, your grandmother's mother, your grandfather's mother, and all those, you would get a headache in so many people. How many people you're connected to, how many people that you're a part of. And when they hear about you, they're just as happy as you are hearing about them. Because they see that you had the tenacity to go up and look for them. You know how that makes them feel? This is what I'm saying, man. All this stuff that we doing, the show off, go visit your folks. You'll be damn glad you did.
Let me break it down the way I talked to my daughter earlier. My parents, they moved from Virginia to New York, and then they bounced down to New Jersey when they went to build a house. They saved up money from the projects and built a house. Built a house because they found land that was owned by an indigenous woman, farmer, who a cousin told my daddy about the land. Cousins lived all in the area nearby. My mother was not one of them women that was stupid. She was intelligent. She was married young, but she was like, I ain't having no women around my friends, around my husband. So she didn't really have friends around her husband. But the thing about it, the fortunate thing and the thing about being Indians is when she did move to New Jersey, she moved amongst family who had already migrated there. So most of her friends were her husband's, her sister-in-law, her husband's, my dad's brother's wife, right? Her own sister who come down to New York and visit, her sister-in-law, her niece who was also her cousin, because that's the way we act are. We're doubly and triply related. And like that. Like most of her friends, the people that she was be in her house were family. Those are the people that we had over every weekend, or just about, was family. But now we don't have that. Many of us don't have that. A lot of that was still strong in New Orleans, and they had to blow the levees up, try to break that up, kill them people and try to break up their connectivity, right? So think about that. Now we have all these strangeness going on, and it's a problem. But as you reconnect, like I said, with your distant people, but still your people, you can form a network of folks that are your friends, people that you can relate to, who are similar to you and you can trust. The things that our grandparents or parents had naturally. But it's harder now because we move around so much more and so much more frequently. And we get broke off from each other so much more and so much more frequently. We have to make triple efforts to regain that connectivity with each other and to make those relationship bonds. I don't know. That's all I wanted to add. You see, the thing about it is a lot of times family, there's a different vibe, right? They're going to accept certain things that other people are going to roll their eyes at or not tolerating you. They're going to accept certain things because we love you on a heart level, on a soul level, And a lot of us need that. We need that extra points. We need them family points, that keeps people close and keeps us ignoring the things that annoy us, because people have a low tolerance today. They tell people to get lost very quickly, So having that little bit of they family, having even a little bit of that is helpful in this day and time.
So you heard it here first. You have a huge contingency of people that are there for you. Your grandmother's people, your grandmother's mother, father. On your mother's side, your grandfather people, mother and father on your dad's side. And like I said, the time frames, check out the time frames. Check out the time frames that a lot of those people, a lot of those towns she talked about, those people were having 10, 11, 12, 13 kids, so they would have people to help build the farm. You come from that. Those are your people. And that's why we say always do the genealogy. You bound to find them. And when you see the tremendous amount of people, then you will know that you are not alone. and you have a lot of people to do things with. And like Lisa was saying earlier, a lot of those people are on the same vibe that you are because you come from the same litter. You come from the same people. So make sure you get your genealogy in. Make sure you find your folks, your father's folks. Even if you didn't even grow up with your father, his folks are still out there. They probably know more about you than you do. Search for your people, man. They out there waiting for you with open arms. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time. Peace.